Let's look at the double slit experiment as an example of two-source interference. When will the two waves have complete destructive interference or constructive interference? Well, we can just, based on the rules we've seen, where constructive happens at 2 pi m phase shifts and destructive happens at 2 pi m plus half, to figure out when our patterns are going to have constructive, which I've shown here in this purple color, and destructive, which is the absence of light, which I've shown in white. Now, how do these waves actually get out of phase? Well, let's look at some point for these waves to get to. So I'm going to choose right here. Now, the wave that is traveling from this slit is going to travel a different distance than the wave from this slit. So there's a difference in path length that's being traveled that will result in a difference in phase. So this is basically just the proportion related to the wavelength, and I give it a phase shift by just multiplying by 2 pi. So now I can get the relative phase of the waves coming from each different slit. Now, when will it be constructive and when will it be destructive? Well, if I just set the phase shift I get here equal to either the constructive rule or the destructive rule, I can figure out where my bands will be. So, for constructive, all of the bright fringes, the light bands, are going to occur here, where y is just the distance from the center of the system, m is some integer, lambda is the lambda of the wave, L depends on the distance of the system itself, and little d is the distance between the slits. Now, destructive interference was again just comparing change in phi to 2 pi m plus half and showing that, hey look, it's very similar except we just get m plus half. So that will tell us where all of the dark bands will occur, which I've kind of gestured at in the red arrow. Now, what happens if we change just a small piece of this? If I make little d a lot bigger, that will cause the constructive value and destructive values of y to get a lot smaller. That means this pattern will get tighter and tighter.